hamuko na shida na Wakikuyu kuliko sisi wa Kalenjin. Tuko na shida kubwa zaidi.
A very good morning and welcome back to Havana Media. My name is Boniface Awino, and as usual I'm going to be your host for today. Now, before I talk about this video, I just want to remind you that our dear loved president, that is Dr. William Samoei Ruto, will be traveling to to Congo Brazzaville after coming back from US trip. So William Samoei Ruto cannot finish 1 week in the country right now. He keeps on traveling on trips that we don't know what they are going to do. Now, jumping back to our discussion, let me just remind you before that if you're meeting for the first time, please don't forget to take a minute to go down there, click the subscribe button. You can also like, share, and drop me a comment at the comment section and tell me what you think and where you're watching these videos from. As I normally say, that feedback is normally the key thing in any form of communication. And not fail to appreciate those who are giving us support, because without the support, this channel cannot grow and it cannot be where it is as now. Now, let us jump directly to our discussion. First things first. During William Ruto's campaign, there is a statement that he made. I don't know where exactly he made this statement, but I think he meant it. People thought that William Ruto was just saying this for the sake, but he really meant what he said. William Ruto said that there is no community, there is no tribe that has got bigger problem with the Kikuyu'S more than us Kalenjins. That was his statement. That there is no tribe that has got a bigger problem with the Kikuyu'S than us Kalenjin. But one thing you do, the one thing that you must make sure that you do is to focus on what can solve all your problems with your enemy before starting fighting your enemy. So in short, he was trying to say that before declaring a war between Kalenjins and Kikuyu'S, let us first find ways of getting into power. So after getting into power, that one will give us a better opportunity and a landing point of attacking these Kikuyu'S. That was his statement. That first of all, let us find ways of getting into power. Because once you are in power, you can do anything and nobody will question you. You can employ people, you can have assassins, and everything will work the way you want without anybody mentioning your name. But at the end of the day, you will be the person that is carrying all these things. Now, I want us to listen to William Samoei Ruto's statement before we come back so that we can continue with our discussion. Listen to this.
Mimi nauliza nyinyi, kama mko na shida na Wakikuyu, hamuko na shida na Wakikuyu kuliko sisi wa Kalenjin. Tuko na shida kubwa zaidi. Sawa sawa? Lakini ikifika mahali unatofautisha maneno, unaweka maneno ya tofauti za kijamii kando, unatafuta serikali kwanza, kwa sababu ile serikali itakusaidia kutatua matatizo ulio nayo.
Now, another one, William Ruto yesterday was on CNN Live, and he was asked about this issue of RSF. You know, it is very funny. William Ruto is asked that how comes there is war in Sudan, but instead of finding ways of solving the problem with the East Africa, within Eastern Africa or within East Africa, you are taking your troops to Haiti. What is the connection between Kenya and Haiti instead of Kenya helping the neighbors, because Sudan is just neighbors of Kenya? Why didn't you just decide to solve the problem of Sudan instead of going to Haiti to solve the problem of Haiti's? I want us to listen to the way William Ruto responds to this.
As we speak today, in Sudan, we have close to 1 million people who are facing starvation. We have serious security issues. We have serious humanitarian issues. And it is our position that in Sudan, thanks to the United Nations, now a resolution has been made so that African peace operations can now be funded by assessed contributions from the UN. That will give the African Union additional capacity to manage the situation in our continent, including the situation in Sudan.
So let me ask you, Mr. President, because you've tried to intervene in a certain way. You have hosted the RSF in your country, I assume to try to get them to back down. I don't know, you tell me. But right now, the Sudanese army is on the offensive again. Where do you think the solution lies, and what What response did you get from the RSF?
I have hosted Burhan, who is the SAF leader. I have hosted Hemeti, who is the RSF leader. I have hosted the former Prime Minister and a host of political leaders and other interlocutors, because I believe that the way to get Sudan out of the current quagmire is through dialogue and diplomacy. I am persuaded, like many, that a military solution will not come out in Sudan. And that is why Kenya is deeply invested and engaged in finding a solution, bringing together all the actors. This will not be solved by talking to the military men alone. We need to talk to the political leaders, women, civil society, to find a solution. In any case, the revolution that removed the dictatorship in Sudan was a people's revolution, which was hijacked by men in military uniform, and they have made a mess of the country. We believe that it is time the international community look at Sudan much more keenly, because we are having a humanitarian disaster in the offing in Sudan, especially because of the famine that is imminent. Famine is going to possibly kill more people than the guns are killing in Sudan if we are not careful.
Mr. President, you speak very frankly, talking about a mess conducted by the men in uniform in Sudan and elsewhere. And you've also called, I heard you say, reform of the UN Security Council and reform of the African Union. And I'm wondering whether the African Union is fit for purpose, and how you judge and analyze, for instance, the belt of coups that have taken place in previously democratically elected governments in Africa, you know, from Burkina Faso and on and on. What's going on your continent?
I want to tell you, Christian, that as we discuss the reform of the UN, we are invested as Africans. And I am leading, because my colleagues in the African continent assigned me, a reform of the Africa Union itself, to make the executive more fit for purpose, to ensure that the parliament holds the executive much more accountable, and to bring on board the African Court of Justice so that we can sort out issues in our African continent. We are also working on African financial institutions, Afrexim Africa Development Bank, Trade Development Bank, to build the necessary ecosystem for us to be able to sort out our problems in the continent. So even as we push for the reform of the UN, we are reforming our own Africa Union. And I want to promise that February next year, I am going to be tabling the reform initiatives and programs to the Summit of the Heads of State for approval and for implementation.
And the last story is about this issue of Rigathi Gachagwa's impeachment, because that is one of the major things that right now is moving all around. Everybody is talking about it. Some people are saying that this one is just a game that these politicians are using to distract our attention. Because, okay, I want us to look at this thing, by the way, this way. Like, why is it that right now everybody is concentrating on the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua, yet we know very well that it is not an easy process? That is a fact. If you watch the video that I just did before this, there are 6 things that I read, that I said concerning the impeachment of a deputy president. The process of all that of impeaching a deputy president. It is not an easy thing. It is not something that you can just wake up in the morning and decide to do. It is not an easy thing. So why is it that people are concentrating too much on the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua and forgetting with the issue of Adani? With the issue of the 21 kids that lost their lives, with the issue of the Githurai massacre, with the issue of the young boys and girls that lost their lives during the demonstrations. So, you see, I think all these things are just created. I think they're just created so that our attention can be taken away from the main thing and focus on other things. That is the fact. That the government does not want us to know what is exactly going on. So it's like they are creating chaos. And ODPP is being used. I don't know why these guys are being used, because they're the ones that right now are saying that they have approved the allegations that have been taken by the members of parliament concerning Rigathi Gachagua and his allies. So they have approved that, and they are saying that all the allegations are right, and therefore Rigathi Gachagua's impeachment motion should be taken to parliament. And these people, whenever they are told about the rogue police, they don't react. These people, whenever they are told about anything concerning the cops, they don't react. The mask crop, the police in civilian, they don't react. The killing of policemen, they don't react. But now they react too much. They react very fast on the political issues. Why are they even involving themselves in the things that are happening in politics? Politics are supposed to be left for politicians. Let them handle themselves. There is parliament. Why do you involve with this? Okay, involving yourself is not a problem. But why can't you solve the problems that Kenyans are having? Like, people died. You didn't talk about it. A lot of people have lost their lives. The families are crying right now. They are going to bury the kids that they did not even plan. There is no investigation that is going to take place. By the way, for your information, there is no investigation that is going to take place concerning these kids. That is the naked truth. Nobody is going to even get involved in this. Nobody is going to talk about this thing. That is the truth. Let us just talk about it. It is the truth. That is the fact, that no one is going to talk about these kids anymore. No one. No one is going to talk about the kids, the 71 kids that are disappeared without anybody's knowledge. No one. But what is ODPP doing? They are concentrating on the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua and his allies more than the way they should concentrate on the lives, on the things that are happening in the lifestyle of a normal citizen. Okay, I asked this thing, and I keep on asking. If at all Rigathi Gachagua is impeached right now, will it bring any difference? If at all Rigathi Gachagua is impeached today, will he sleep angry? If at all Rigathi Gachagua is impeached right now, will he walk without cars? Because that guy has got money. He's very rich. He has got money. It will not bring any change. But suppose William Ruto is impeached right now, a lot of things will change. But I want us to focus on this statement of William Ruto, that there is no tribe that has got bigger problem with the Kikuyu'S than us Kalenjins. But for us to solve all this, for us to settle our matter, the matter between Kalenjins and Kikuyu'S, let us first get into power. So after getting into power is now when we can start now fighting these people pole pole. And we are all seeing what is happening today, by the way. How William Ruto is mistreating the people of the mountain. And I think there is a time that we had got a conversation here with some guests, and one of them said that William Ruto does not love Kikuyu'S. William Ruto do not love Kikuyu'S. And that is why he keeps on giving them people that cannot even lead them. And a person who does not love you, a person who do not love you, he will try his level best to find his ways of splitting you, of separating you, of causing chaos within your jurisdiction, problems within your house. That is it. And that is what William Ruto is doing. He decided to take Rigathi Gachagua. Right now he wants to impeach Rigathi Gachagua. Okay, he's suggesting that he be given Kithure Kindiki. Who is Kithure Kindiki? What can Kithure Kindiki do? What can Kithure Kindiki do? Okay, let's assume that now he's given position to be the deputy president. What can he do? After all, guys, that is all I have for today. Let me also know what you think in the comment section. Until we meet again, I've been your host, Boniface Awino. Bye-bye.